Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of living in Randleman, North Carolina. I know it's easy for us agents to talk about how great a place is, highlight key attributes, talk about why it's the perfect place to live, but nobody ever gets honest, gets down to the nitty-gritty, and tells you why you may not want to live in an area. Make sure you stick around into today's video, because at the end, I'm going to talk about some of the cons of living in Randleman. I'm Evan Cates, and this is Living in Randleman, North Carolina. If you're interested in finding out what it's like to eat, live, sleep, play in Randleman, North Carolina, and Randolph County, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you can get an alert every time I upload a new video. I get calls and texts from people every day wanting to move or relocate to Randleman, and I just absolutely love it. If you're interested in moving to Randleman, make sure you call me, text me, email me, send me smoke signals, days, nights, weekends. I'm always happy to help. First, let's jump into the pros of living in Randleman, North Carolina. The first pro on the list is the small town charm Randleman has. Originally a mill town, Randleman has beautiful architecture and a close-knit community. It's growing and it's thriving and it's full of Southern hospitality. When there's events or festivals throughout the year, when you go, you see people that you know, you meet your neighbors there, and it's overall just a safe, enjoyable place to live. The second pro on the list is how affordable housing is. Generally speaking, the cost of living in Randleman is lower than much larger cities. What's great about Randleman is you can find a home that's a little bit larger, 2 or 3 bedrooms, with a little bit more land, spread out just a little bit more, and be paying the same that you would in a bigger city with less land or a smaller house. The third pro on the list, and this may be important to everybody, is how low the crime rate is. Notably, when you go into downtown, when you drive into Randleman, you will see the police. They are actively patrolling. They take pride in making sure that Randleman is a nice, safe, welcoming community. The fourth pro on the list is how naturally beautiful Randleman is. With Randleman Lake just a short distance from downtown, the nature trail, deep river, Randleman just has a certain natural beauty to it that has been preserved throughout the years. When you go to a major city, you kind of lose that. You get a lot more concrete, you get a lot less vegetation. Out here in Randleman, you can drive a minute out of downtown and be into corn and hay fields. In the fall, there's still enough trees around to have that beautiful drive in the country. It's overall just a naturally beautiful place. The fifth and final pro I want to talk about living in Randleman, North Carolina may be a little bit controversial to some if you're watching this in the middle of July or August. And that is, Randleman has a very relatively mild climate. We have 4 definitive seasons: fall, winter, spring, and summer. The reason this may be a little controversial is because if you're watching this in July and August and you are living in Randleman, North Carolina, you know it is humid and it is hot. It's easy to break a sweat walking from your house to your car or from the car to the house, and the AC is an absolute must in the summertime if you're living in Randleman, North Carolina. Now, let's get into what everybody's been waiting for, the cons of living in Randleman, North Carolina. As I just noted before, what makes it a nice place to live can also make it a bad place to live. We have 4 definitive seasons, which means we can have a few cold days in the winter, which can freeze up your pipes, cause a little bit of trouble at the home, and also in the summertime, in July and August, it gets terribly humid, it gets terribly hot. If you're planning on doing something with the family, you better do it early in the morning or plan on doing it later in the afternoon, because at 12 noon in July going into August, it is hot, it is humid, the sun will beat you to death, and it just makes it an overall terrible experience if you don't have plenty of water, some shade to jump into, AC in the car when you finally get back from that hike or from that camping trip. It is what it is. Having the 4 seasons, you gotta have some hot, you gotta have some cold, and some people may just not like it. The second con to living in Randleman, North Carolina is the relatively limited job opportunities. While we are located fairly centrally in the state, around some major cities, you do have to drive from Randleman to Greensboro or High Point or Winston-Salem to have a truly successful career in various industries. A third con of living in Randleman, North Carolina are the relatively limited educational opportunities. While there is an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, if you want to go further your education beyond high school, you are going to have to travel outside of Randleman. Randolph Community College is in Asheboro, which is about a 15-minute drive from downtown Randleman, And if you want to go to a university, you're going to have to head to Greensboro or High Point or Winston-Salem, which is a 20 or 30-minute drive to get to a university or get to a college that will offer a higher education. A fourth con of living in Randleman, and this is something that I experienced myself when I was in college, living in Randleman and going to school in Greensboro, is the relatively limited cultural and entertainment options available within the city limits. If you're wanting to go out for a nice dinner, go out for cocktails, go see a movie on a Friday night, you are going to have to travel to Greensboro, High Point, Winston in order to get to a major city that has more options for you as far as going out and getting entertainment. The final con I want to talk about on the list is the commute to larger cities. Like I said before, if you're going to go to school, if you're going to go for a higher education, you are going to have to travel outside of Randleman. You're going to have to go to Asheboro to go to the community college. You're going to have to go to Greensboro or High Point or Winston to go to a university or a college for your higher education. And that commute also includes going out on a Friday night. You're going to have to get in the car and drive to Greensboro, drive to High Point if you're wanting to go out and find some entertainment on a Friday night. That's the pros and the cons of living in Randleman, North Carolina. If you're interested in finding out more about Randleman, call me, text me, email me. Nights, days, weekends, I'm always happy to help.